All right, so get this. You're at a fancy dinner party.
Ooh la la.
Right. In France in 1865.
Okay.
Wine's flowing. Everyone's having a grand old time.
Sounds lovely.
And out of the blue, someone tosses out this wild idea, a gigantic statue, a gift from France to the United States.
A gigantic statue, huh?
Yeah, pretty far-fetched, right?
Well, I've heard crazier ideas at dinner parties.
But that dinner party chatter,
Yeah.
it actually turned into one of the most recognizable symbols on the planet, the Statue of Liberty.
No way.
I know, it's crazy. We got some awesome sources about Lady Liberty's origins,
I'm all ears.
and it's so much more complex and interesting than you might think.
It's amazing how these little conversations can spark something so monumental.
Isn't it, though?
And you're right, the story of the Statue of Liberty, it's so much more than just a symbol of friendship between France and America.
Yeah, it's like this whole tapestry.
Totally. It's woven into a really turbulent time in French history.
Yeah.
You've got the ambition of this young sculptor, Frederic Auguste Bartholdi.
Oh, yeah, Bartol.
And even a little international rivalry sprinkled in.
Ooh, I love a good rivalry. Okay, so let's rewind the clock. We're talking 19th century France.
Okay.
A time of some serious political drama, revolutions, republics, monarchies, empires.
Talk about a roller coaster.
It's giving whiplash just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Our sources really paint this vivid picture of France just wrestling with what liberty even means.
You have to understand that context. It's crucial because it really shapes the whole story of the Statue of Liberty.
It's the backdrop to everything.
Exactly. Imagine living through that kind of instability.
Oh, man, I can't even imagine.
The desire for liberty, it wouldn't be some abstract idea.
Right.
It would be this deep, visceral need, almost something you could reach out and touch.
It would be so real.
Absolute.
And that backdrop, it's essential for understanding our dinner party host, Edouard de La Boulaye.
Ah, yes, La Boulaye.
This French scholar, huge admirer of the United States.
Huge.
And he really believed in this shared ideal of liberty between the two nations.
He saw the U.S. as this successful experiment in democracy, a real beacon of hope.
Kind of like a shining city on a hill.
Exactly. Especially after they had just come out of their own internal struggle with slavery and the Civil War.
It was a big moment for the U.S., for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And that brings us back to that famous dinner party in 1865.
Yeah, back to the party.
La Boulaye brings together this group of intellectuals,
All the best minds.
including Bartholdi.
There he is again.
They're there to celebrate the Union victory and mourn Lincoln's assassination.
A mix of emotions, for sure.
It's interesting, right? This blend of celebration and sorrow,
Very much so.
reflecting on freedom, one freedom lost. And in the midst of all of this,
Yeah.
the conversation turns to a monument,
A monument.
this grand gesture of Franco-American friendship.
I love it. Now, our sources, they kind of disagree here.
Oh,
Yeah. Was this dinner party conversation the actual spark that ignited the Statue of Liberty project?
I see.
Or was it more of a convenient story that Bartholdi maybe used later on?
Okay, some good old-fashioned historical debate.
You know how we do.
So spill the tea. What's the deal with Bartholdi?
Well, you see, Bartholdi, he was already obsessed with colossal statues.
No way, really?
Oh, yeah. In fact, he had pitched this massive statue called Egypt Carrying the Light to Asia for the Suez Canal.
Wait a minute. So he already had this vision of a giant torch-bearing woman even before the dinner party.
Precisely. It's hard not to see the similarities with Lady Liberty, right?
Wow. It's all coming together now.
This makes some historians think that Bartholdi might have been searching for any grand project to attach his vision to.
I can see that.
The dinner party and all the talk about Franco-American friendship, well, it might have been the perfect opportunity.
So maybe the dinner party was more of a catalyst than the actual birth of the idea.
It's hard to say for certain.
History is full of mysteries.
But what is clear is that Bartholdi, he had a knack for sensing an opportunity.
He was a go-getter.
And he had this deep desire to create something truly monumental.
He wanted to make history.
And the timing was perfect. Remember, France had just been defeated in the Franco-Prussian War.
Oh, yeah, that's right. A crushing defeat.
It led to the loss of Bartholdi's hometown.
Oof, talk about adding fuel to the fire of ambition.
And maybe even a need to reaffirm those ideals of liberty.
Yeah, I bet that loss really stung.
Absolutely. It was a blow to national pride, for sure. Yeah, it really puts things into perspective, doesn't it?
It does. It's almost like this personal loss, this hit to France's pride. It added another layer of meaning to the whole Statue of Liberty project.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And it wasn't just Bartholdi who felt this way, the Franco-Prussian War. It really shook Laboulaye, too.
I bet.
He saw it as this stark reminder, that democracy is fragile.
Yeah.
Wake-up call to reinforce those very ideals that he believed the United States embodied.
Right. So you have Bartholdi heartbroken over his hometown, and Laboulaye worried about the future of liberty in Europe.
Yeah, it's like a recipe for action.
It really is. This shared experience of war, it created this sense of urgency, this need to make this monument happen.
Definitely. And let's not forget the timing.
Oh yeah, the timing was perfect.
The 100th anniversary of American independence, it was right around the corner.
That's right. So Bartholdi sets off for the U.S. with letters of introduction from Laboulaye. Did he have a specific spot in mind for this massive statue?
He did right from the start, Bartholdi. He pictured Lady Liberty standing tall in New York Harbor,
Of course. The perfect spot.
welcoming ships arriving from across the Atlantic.
Like a beacon of hope.
Exactly. He set his sights on Bedloe's Island.
Bedloe's Islands.
And even though there was a fort there at the time,
It's iconic now, though.
it really is. It was a perfect spot for his vision.
You can just picture it, can't you? This majestic figure greeting newcomers with this promise of freedom opportunity.
What an entrance.
Talk about a powerful first impression.
It really is striking, and it speaks to Bartholdi's ambition. But it's interesting how the actual design of the statue changed over time.
Oh, yeah, how so?
Well, at first it was this kind of veiled reference to the end of slavery
Interesting.
with broken chains in her hand.
Powerful imagery.
But eventually the focus shifted to emphasize the date of American independence, July 4th, 1776.
Right, inscribed on the tablet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like they were carefully tailoring the statue's message for its American audience.
Makes sense when you consider the fundraising challenges they faced.
Oh, yeah, big time. They needed buy-in from both sides of the Atlantic.
Totally. So how'd that go?
Well, raising money for a project of this scale, it was no walk in the park.
I can imagine.
The French, they managed to drum up excitement with exhibitions and even a national lottery.
Wow, a lottery for a statue.
But the American Committee, they had a tougher crowd.
Really?
Our sources paint this picture of some Americans being a bit hesitant.
Like thanks but no thanks.
Kind of. Like, it's the thought that counts France, but this pedestal is going to cost a fortune.
I can hear them now.
Right. And that's where Joseph Pulitzer, the newspaper guy, he swoops in.
Oh, Pulitzer. This is where he comes in.
He saw this whole pedestal fund as a chance to champion a cause and take a dig at wealthy New Yorkers at the same time.
Sounds like Pulitzer.
He launches this brilliant campaign in his newspaper, The New York World,
Okay.
urging everyday Americans to donate whatever they could.
I love it.
He really played up that power to the people angle.
Smart move.
And here's the genius part. He promised to print the name of every single donor in his newspaper, no matter how small the donation.
So even if you only gave a penny, you got your name in print?
You got it. It was brilliant. Suddenly, it wasn't just about donating to a statue. It was about being part of something bigger,
I get.
demonstrating your patriotism and support for this symbol of liberty.
It was a movement.
It really was. And it worked like a charm.
I bet people ate it up.
They did. They donated pennies, nickels, dimes, whatever they could spare.
That's amazing.
This incredible wave of support from everyday Americans.
It's inspiring.
I love how Pulitzer tapped into this sense of public ownership.
It's like he was saying, this is your statue, too.
Exactly. And it worked. He pretty much shamed those wealthy New Yorkers into contributing too.
Uh-huh. I love it. Good old-fashioned public pressure.
In the end, thanks to Pulitzer, the money was raised, the pedestal was built. Lady Liberty was ready for her grand debut.
I bet it was spectacular.
Oh, it was. This massive spectacle.
Give me all the details.
Picture this. The first ever ticker tape parade.
No way.
Wall Street traders showering the streets with ticker tape to celebrate.
What a scene.
It was truly a momentous occasion.
I can imagine. But amidst all the fanfare and celebration,
Yeah.
our sources, they point out this irony.
Oh, yeah.
They were celebrating liberty at a time when both France and the U.S. were struggling with equality and suffrage.
It's true. The African-American community in the U.S., they were facing the rise of Jim Crow laws.
Ugh, that's awful.
And women in both countries were still fighting for the right to vote.
Their fight for liberty was far from over.
It's this stark reminder that those ideals embodied by Lady Liberty, well, they weren't always reflected in reality.
Yeah, that's a good point. But there's another layer to this story, right? The statue's meaning it evolved over time.
You're thinking of Emma Lazarus.
Yes, Emma Lazarus and her tome, The New Colossus.
The one with the famous lines, "Give me your tired, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free."
It's incredible how that poem transformed the Statue of Liberty into this symbol of hope and welcome for immigrants.
Lazarus's poem, it was originally written to help raise money for the pedestal.
Oh, wow.
But it ended up doing so much more, it gave the statue a whole new dimension.
That's powerful stuff.
It shifted the focus from the past to the future,
I see.
from commemorating history to embodying this universal aspiration.
It's amazing how a single poem could change how we see a monument like that.
It speaks to the power of art, right? To shape our understanding of the world, Lazarus captured something that resonated with people seeking refuge and opportunity in America.
It became their story.
In a way, yeah. So from a dinner party chat in a turbulent France to a symbol of friendship between two nations to this beacon of hope for immigrants, Lady Liberty, she's taken on a lot of roles throughout history.
She's a symbol for the age.
It's a story about ambition, collaboration, and the power of ideals even when reality falls short.
It really is something else, how this statue meant for one thing took on this whole other life.
It shows you the power of symbols, how they can change and take on these new meanings over time.
It's like they have a mind of their own.
In a way, yeah. And for the Statue of Liberty, that evolution is tied to the changing social and political scene in both France and the U.S.
Speaking of change, I'm curious about actually building Lady Liberty.
Yeah.
We know it's built in France and shipped to the U.S.
Right.
But how do you even start building something that massive?
It was a huge undertaking, to say the least.
I bet.
Bartholdi and his team, they used this technique called repoussé.
Repoussé?
Yeah, where they hammered these thin sheets of copper into shape to make the statue's outer skin.
So they're hammering away at these giant copper sheets,
It's quite a process.
slowly bringing Lady Liberty to life. It must have been amazing to see.
Oh, absolutely. And then there's the internal framework designed by none other than Gustave Eiffel.
No way. The Eiffel Tower guy.
The one and only. His iron pylon and support system, they gave Lady Liberty the strength to stand tall against the elements.
So the same guy who gave us the Eiffel Tower made sure Lady Liberty could last.
Pretty much. It's quite a legacy.
It really is. It shows the ingenuity and teamwork that went into creating this icon.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just grand visions and engineering feats, right?
Yeah.
It's about everyday people, too, and how they contributed.
Exactly. We talked about Joseph Pulitzer raising money for the pedestal.
Yeah, he was a real hustler.
But there were so many others who helped bring Lady Liberty to life.
It was a group effort.
Think about all the workers in the workshops and shipyards,
Yeah.
the sailors who brought her across the Atlantic, the people who lined the streets of New York for the unveiling.
It's amazing.
A real testament to the power of shared dreams and goals.
And it's those shared dreams, those hopes for freedom and opportunity that still draw people to Lady Liberty today.
Definitely.
She's a symbol of hope, a reminder that even when things are tough, we still want something better.
Such a powerful message.
One that goes beyond borders and time.
It makes you think, what does Lady Liberty mean to you today?
That's a great question, one we can all think about. From a dinner party chat to a global icon, Lady Liberty's journey reminds us that even the biggest dreams can come true when people come together.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And that's something worth remembering. Make sure to subscribe to The Deep Dive for more fascinating explorations like this one.